Hey guys, how you doing? Well, I get a lot of comments and stuff like that on different things, and most of them are really good comments, complimenting me and all that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, I get one that's is a real piece of work. Something which is really bad mouthing and stuff like that. A while back, I did a review of this Grizzly lathe here, and I've now had it a year and a half. I've had one single problem with it, and when I first got it, the main shaft had a variance in it. Grizzly sent me a new shaft. I put it in. I have had zero problems since. It's quiet. It's you can see right here. See if I can get out of the way a little bit. You can see right here. It's perfect alignment. You spin it. There is. See it go here. There's no wobble, so it works fine. It's quiet. It's powerful. I've made several modifications, as everybody knows. I'm the type of person who can bring home a new car and make a change in it, and that's no lie. I put an additional speed controller. If it's down to far end, I got a switch to switch it. I've got an LED here that tells me which speed controller is in effect. I put a switch on the brake so that, whenever I put the brake on, it won't run anymore. That kills it all. Down at the far end, I've got an emergency off switch. So those are modifications that, I made because I wanted to make them. Because I looked at functionality of different lathes, and those are some of the things I like. Nobody had everything I wanted except maybe robust, and well, I just couldn't, I couldn't pay that kind of money for them. I really like their lathe and all that kind of stuff, and they, without a doubt, probably have the best lathe on the market. And it's, it's 85% domestic made, which means, 15% comes out of somewhere else, most likely China or someplace like that. But, they're good, but they cost twice what this one does. And in reality, all they do is turn. One way or another, fast or slow. That's all they do. So, it's not a complicated machine. So to say that one brand is better than another brand is a real misnomer. And I'll tell you why. Because, see, Grizzly makes nothing. Powermatic makes nothing. Laguna, they make nothing. They buy it from somebody in another country that assembles it. Even that company doesn't make it. They resource the parts out. For instance, the electronics in here could very well be from the same company that supplies the electronics for Powermatic. I mean, it's just, the electronics are simple in the first place. It's just basically a speed control and a three-phase converter is all it boils down to, and some switches. So, it's relatively simple. So, just like Sears makes nothing, Walmart makes nothing. Something like this, it's assembled in China, this one is. And the company in China, I have no idea who they are, but they get their motor from a supplier, which is probably the same motor these other companies use. The point I'm trying to make is the brand of these non-American, non-robust ones, I guess, doesn't matter. One is no better or no worse than the other because they're a conglomeration of parts from everywhere. For instance, here's a bearing right here. This bearing's out of Japan. It says right there, Japan. And that's a big, heavy bearing. It's super smooth. When they sent me a new shaft, they sent me 2 sets of bearings for, I think it was an accident, but I ain't giving none of them back. But I've got a whole new set of bearings there. Here's one of them. It's big and heavy and smooth out of Japan. Now let's talk about this guy right here for a second, all right? His name is John Horsfall. I have no idea where he's from. Let me tell you some of the things he said. In the first place, it's extremely rude to trash somebody's product. I mean, if you go out and buy a Chevrolet car and you had it a year and it works really fine. And I come along and say, oh boy, that's a piece of crap, you know, you should never have bought that. Well, that's about the rudest, crudest thing you can ever do. Well, this is what this guy did, so okay. I want to read you a couple things he says, okay? First off, he says it's a Harvey lathe, made in China and rebranded by Grizzly. Yeah, true or not true, who cares? He said, problem with this lathe that are very common. Spindle shafts unbalanced and badly turned so they wobble. I don't know if I can agree or disagree. I think I had a fluke on this one. Unbalanced, man, you know, you got a shaft there. Pretty hard to be very unbalanced there. Plus, golly gee, here's one right here. It is a heavy rascal right here. You see, it's got, you know, it's solid, it's heavy, it's all get out. Right there it is. There's the old one. It's been in my junk pile, pulled it out. I actually think the problem was that when they threaded the end, they got it off center a little bit. That's the only problem. The shaft itself is true. But you know, if you take these threads and they're off to one side or another, it's going to give that effect to it. So he says that, so much for that. And then he says, bearing flog out. Now, I don't know what flog out means. After a year or two. Now, I'm sure he's an expert there. Electronics fail. Speed control goes haywire, i.e. stats up slow and fast RPM indicator is not of the shaft, so not a turn reading. Well, horseshit. You know, here's your shaft. Okay, what this has, there's a magnet right there, okay? Now what that magnet does, every time this shaft turns, there is a sensor that sits right here. When this turns, the magnetic pull causes that sensor, I don't know, to either close or open, I don't know which one, and then it sends an impulse to the, you know, to the thing right up here. So, you know, it's on the shaft. It's what it is, you know. The only thing that could cause this, you know, of course, I'm sure the sensor could go out. And the sensor, you know, the bracket that holds the sensor could be loose to cause a little bit of stuff like that. Or, you know, the distance, you know, there could be several things wrong, but they could be wrong with any of them. So, you know, that's so much for that. This guy obviously knows nothing. He's just I like to refer to him as a crap stirrer. They stir crap to see what pops up, you know. So anyway, now let's see, where are we at now? Okay, stats up and slow, blah, blah, blah. Belt too thin and break often, and you must remove the spindle shaft to replace them. Oh my God. All right, look at here. There's the belt. It's been there a year and a half, and as you know, if you watch my videos, I turn some mean stuff. Bad out of balance. Okay, I've inspected this shaft. It's as good as day one, all right? Look here. To get the bearing off, the belt off, you got a hand wheel over here, 2 little set screws, and it just slides off. You loosen the motor, take it off the bottom pulley, take it off that pulley right there, and it slides out. 1-2 minutes. Big deal. You certainly don't have to pull the whole shaft. My gosh, this guy, he's something else, isn't he? All right. You may ask how I know this. Well, I was going to buy one, and I went to a club member that have owned one and was advised that I would have to do a lot of work on this new lathe to get it to work properly. So he bought a Laguna, blah, blah, blah. Said they're made in Taiwan, they're Taiwanese, so they're far better. Well, I got news for you, John. The parts in that Laguna are probably the same parts in this one. So, you know, people like that, they just wear me out. And the reason I really complain is, you know, he puts this nonsense on YouTube, and people believe it. That's the problem right there. So before you know it, you know, you tell something like this enough and often enough, and it becomes the truth. So when you see something like this from somebody that doesn't even own one, he has a friend or two, you know, and who knows what problems they had or what caused them. I mean, heck, they could have got underwater or something. Who knows, you know? So it's very rude and crude for somebody to do something like this. I would never do it, especially if I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And that's obviously what this guy is. He just don't know what the hell he's talking about. So my point is, don't believe everything you read on this, all these lathes. When you buy a lathe, okay, if you're not being able to buy the high dollar robust or something, you want to look at the functionality of what you're going to use it for. When I bought this lathe, I wanted a heavy lathe. This lathe right here, I believe it weighs almost 800 pounds. It's probably the heaviest one of all of those lathes right here. This has a 3 horsepower motor. The rest of them compatible. Pyromatics, Laguna, all of them, they use a 2 horsepower. So it has a 48-inch table. Has a 24-inch throw. I mean, this is what I wanted. Okay, if I'd wanted a smaller one, I would have bought a smaller one. So you look at the functions that you want that fit your pocketbook, and you forget the brand. All right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. So anyway, thanks a lot. Don't mean to get into a tirade. I'm an easygoing guy, but so every once in a while I get my dandruff up, and maybe I shouldn't let this guy bother me. But I don't guess he really bothered me. I just despise ignorant people. I guess that's what it boils down to. So take care of yourselves, and if I didn't piss you off, subscribe. If I did, I'm sorry. So, keep them whirling, and I'll catch you on the rebound.